Hello, hello guys. So our topic for today is about compound interest. So the formula for compound interest is given by F is equal to P times quantity 1 plus R over N raised to N times T, wherein F is of course called the maturity or the future value, P is the principal or the original amount of money, R is the interest rate, and N is called the frequency of conversion, and T is for the time, which is always expressed in years. Now, let us take a look first at the frequency of conversion o yung N natin kanina sa formula. So, in compound interest, you will be hearing the following terms mostly. So, for example, the loan or the investment is compounded either annually, wherein meaning uh, the conversion happens once a year. So n is equal to 1. Now, if it is converted semi-annually, it happens twice in a year or every 6 months. While for quarterly, it happens 4 times in a year, so every 3 months. For monthly, it happens 12 times a year because there are 12 months in a year, so it happens monthly. For weekly, n is equal to 52, and for daily, we will be using n is equal to 365. For example, guys, Ben borrowed 7,000 on a bank which charges 4% interest compounded semi-annually. So find the maturity value after 2 years. So let us identify the given first. So we are given 7,000 pesos here, which is our principal. Then 4% interest, obviously that is our rate. Convert that to decimal, so divide it simply by 100, then remove the percent symbol, and we will have 0.04. Then value after 2 years, so this is obviously our time in years. Okay, so no problem with that. Now, n is equal to 2. Why? Because based on the formula, the interest is based on the question, the interest is to be compounded semi-annually, meaning it happens every 6 months or 2 times in a year. So n is equal to 2. Review the table if you want to see why n is equal to 2 if it is semi-annually. Now, in the formula, you also see R divided by N, so the rate divided by N. So we will have 0.04 divided by 2, which will be equal to 0.02. So use your calculator, divide that, so 0.02. Then NT, N times T. Or we have N is equal to 2. Ito, yung 2 na to. Then times 2, which refers to our time, 2 years. So 2 times 2, NT is equal to 4. So what does this value mean? What does 0.02 mean? It means to say that every 6 months, the amount of 7,000 pesos earns an interest of 0.02 or 2%. And the conversion is 4 times for 2 years. So meaning the interest is computed 4 times every 6 months. So let us first illustrate how is that computed. Now, take a look at this one. So for the first 6 months, okay, so the interest, syempre, based on our last topic, this is the principal, 7,000. This is your rate, o yung R over N this time, 0.02 because the interest is 0.02 every 6 months. So, P times R times T, ang T natin for this illustration will always be equal to 1. Okay? So, 7,000 times 0.02, we will have 140 pesos. Meaning, for the first 6 months, the 7,000 pesos of Ben earns an interest of 140 pesos. Now, for the future value, simply add the principal plus the interest. So, we will have 7,000 plus 140. So, we will now have 7,140 pesos. Meaning, after 6 months, the loan of Ben, which originally amounts to 7,000 pesos, now is equivalent to 7,140 pesos. That's only for the first 6 months. Next 6 months, after 6 months ulit. So the interest, since this is compound, this future value, now 7,140 pesos, will become our principal for the next computation. Times 0.02, this one, then we will have an interest of 142 pesos and 80 centavos, imputing the future value. So add these two numbers again, this one, the 7,140 pesos, and the interest, which is 142 pesos. So the loan now costs or amounts to 7,282 pesos and 80 centavos. Now, for the next 6 months, pangatlo na to, 7,282.80, the same amount, yung figure na to, times 0.02, so 145.66 yung interest. So add that to the previous future value and you will have 7,428.66. And finally, last 6 months, after 6 months ulit. So the same, the last value 7,428.66 times 0.02, and now we will have an interest of 148 pesos and 57 centavos. Add that, and you will have 7,577 and 23 centavos. So after 2 years, based on our illustration, the amount of 7,000 which Ben borrowed will now be equivalent to 7,577 pesos and 23 centavos with an additional interest of 577 pesos and 23 centavos. Now, let us try to solve the previous example using our formula. So, there's our given. So, 7,000, the principal, 0.04 for the rate, 2 years for time, n is equal to 2 because it is compounded semi-annually, or divided by n is 0.04 divided by 2, or 0.02, and t is equal to 2 times 2, or 4. Now, you can still remember, our answer for the previous slide is 7,577 and 23 centavos. So, let us now solve that using our formula. So, our formula is F is equal to P times quantity 1 plus R over N raised to N times T. By substitution, we will have P, which is equivalent to 7,000 pesos, 1 plus R over N. So, R over N is this one, 0.02. Okay? Then, NT is this one, 4. So, we will have 7,000 times 1 plus 0.02 raised to 4. Now, before we can proceed, let us first add these two numbers. 1 plus 0.02 obviously will give us 1.02. So, now for this next layer, we will have 7,000 times 1.02 raised to 4. Now, get your calculator and let us solve 1.02 raised to 4. So, this is my calculator. So, let us watch how you can compute 1.02 raised to 4. So, enter 1.02, then look for this x raised to y or anything with the exponent. X raised to y is commonly found in your calculator. then it will be 1.08243216. But for our subject, we will be using the nearest 10,000s, 1.0824 only, 4 decimal places. But in reality, in real life, uh, we should use all those digits in computing the interest. But for our discussion, only four decimals, 4 decimal places after 4 decimal places. Now, substitute that 1.0824, so multiplying that, and we will have 7,576 pesos and 80 centavos. Now, for the next question, if we are going to use, now if you can see, if we compare this one and this answer, there is a 1 peso, about 40 centavos difference, right? Now, what if we use the entire numbers here, which we found in our calculator, right? What if we use that? So we will have 7,577.03. So this time, the margin or the difference between our computation and the actual value that we found on the last page becomes very small. But again, since we are using 4 decimal places, let us allow that difference of 40 centavos or almost 40 centavos difference in our answers. Okay, so we will be using this one, so not this one, huh? But in reality, we use this one. Okay, but for our discussion, we stick to rounding off this number to 4 decimal places. So let us have another example. Aurora invested 90,000 pesos in an account which earns 3% interest compounded yearly. Find the maturity value and the interest after 5 years. So let us take a look at our given. So the principal is 90,000 pesos here. 3% interest is here for our rate, or 0.03. Then find the maturity value. So we're looking for F and we're looking for I. So we're given 5 years for our term or time. 5 years. Now, for our N, since the interest is compounded yearly, the frequency of conversion is 1. For our R divided by N, so we will have 0.03 divided by our N, which is 1. So we will have 0.03 also. For our NT, so N times T, our N is 1 times T is 5. So 1 times 5 will also give us 5. Let us substitute that to our formula. F is equal to P, 9,000, okay, plus R over N. 1 plus R over N. Our R over N is 0.03. NT, our NT is 1 times 5 or 5. So add these two numbers, 1 plus 0.03, and we are supposed to have 1.03. Now let us get our calculator again. And 1.03 raised to 5 will give us 1.593. So multiplying those two numbers, we will have 104,337 pesos. Now let us take a look at the computation for 1.03 raised to 5. So let us enter 1.03 raised to 5. And we have 1.1592.7. So 4 decimal places, 1.1592, but round off, we will have 1.1593. So this one, 1.1593. So multiply that by 90,000 and we have 104,000 pesos. For the interest, we subtract the future value minus the principal, 104,337 minus 90,000, and the interest is 14,337 pesos. Now, for our next example, Patricia bought a motorcycle on an installment basis. The interest rate is 6.5% compounded monthly, which is payable in 3 years. If the price of the motorcycle is 72,000 pesos, what will be the future value and what is the interest? Now, for our given, 6.5% here is our, yes, that's our rate. Convert that to decimal, we will have 0.065. How about 3 years? Of course, that is our time. Then, how about 72,000? Yes, that is our principal or the original amount of the motorcycle. So, we're looking for F and we're looking for I, interest. Now, first, identify the frequency of conversion. So, N is equal to 12. Why? Because it says here that the interest is compounded monthly. In a year, there are 12 months. So meaning the interest is compounded 12 times in a year. So N is equal to 12. Now, let us have our R divided by N, 0.065 divided by 12, and we will have, use your calculator and round up to 4 decimal places again, 0.0054. NT is N times T, so 12 times 3, so we'll have 36. Now let us substitute that to our formula. So P is 72,000, 1 plus 0.0054, our R over N is 0.0054 here, raised to 36 from our NT. Next, add what? Yes, add these two numbers, 1 plus 0.0054. And we will have, yes, we will have 1.0054. So we now have 72,000 times 1.0054 raised to 6. Let us get your calculator. So 1.0054 raised to 36 will give us 1.2139. So round off again to 4 decimal places. Finally, multiply that to 72,000 pesos. And our future value is 87,400 pesos and 80 centavos. For the interest, is F minus P, the future value, which is 87,000 pesos, this one, minus the principal, which is the 72,000 pesos. So the interest earned by the loan is 15,400 pesos and 80 centavos. Now this will be your output number 2. Please solve them and submit that on the schedule set by your class advisor. Okay? So that will be it. Thank you very much and stay safe, guys.